Peace, Love, Liberty Radio version 4.0. Prepare for launch.
OTC is go.
Packetbus is go.
PTC is go.
LPS is go.
Houston flight is go.
Molotov.
STM is go.
Safety comms is go.
STU is go.
LRD is go. SRO is go.
CDI is go.
Launch Director, NTD, our launch team is ready to proceed at this time.
99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition. Right away, Houston.
Consequences so severe, so pull your trigger quickly, dear. Our patriots are acting up, let's punish them with fear. Hey,
Hey, it's Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. And yes, this is a Friday show. I know, it's unusual, right? It's been so long since there's been a regular Friday show. There will not be a Friday show next week, but hopefully in June, the Friday shows do return at a consistent, regular rate. But we shall see. It all depends on what happens next weekend in Orlando. Yes, I will be in Orlando next weekend, Memorial Day weekend, because that's the Libertarian Party National Convention, and I am one of the presidential candidates seeking the nomination of the Libertarian Party. The party officially nominates the presidential candidate next Sunday. And if I am the nominee, then, well, I'll be doing a lot more traveling over the next several months. We'll probably be doing nothing but traveling until November, but, you know, we'll see what happens. We shall see. I expect fun things to happen and probably some stressful things. And, of course, there will be businessy related things as well. And you know, it's still not too late to make your travel arrangements to get to Orlando. It is almost definitely too late to become a delegate to the convention. And I know there's talk now about the Koch brothers trying to, throw a lot of money into it to make sure that two former Republican governors become the presidential and vice presidential nominees. But, most of, if not, 90% of the delegate slots have already been accounted for. So they're really going to have a hard time buying up delegate slots, which is one of the rumors that I've heard. But nonetheless, I leave for Orlando on Wednesday. And yes, I'm still going to do an Ask Me Anything episode next week. I will record that on Tuesday and then upload that on Wednesday when I get to Orlando. Not as soon as I land, but sometime after I land on Wednesday, I will get that Ask Me Anything episode uploaded. And I will probably take some of the questions from the live Reddit AMA that I'm doing tomorrow, May 21st. I will be answering questions for almost 12 hours. I will start doing the AMA at 10 a.m., I will be taking a break late afternoon, and then I will resume answering questions about 5 p.m. So from 10 until about 2, and then from 5 again until 10 p.m. So there's a 12-hour window where I will be answering questions most of that 12 hours. I will, again, post the link in the show notes. So if you have questions for that live Reddit AMA, you can submit those, and like I said, I will probably take some of the better questions from that AMA to answer on the AMA episode for Wednesday. There will not be a Friday show next week. And while I'm on this announcement sort of thing, I got an email from the Ross Ulbricht family, actually specifically from the Ross Ulbricht Legal Defense Fund that I believe is put out by the family, whether blood family or not, still family nonetheless in the sort of spiritual sense, if you will. So there's a new organization that is helping with Ross's appeal. It is the American Black Cross. It's an organization that I happened to have found out about just a couple of days ago. So let me just read the email. It says, Darryl, people worldwide are learning about Ross's case and its wider implications. We've received great support in creative new ways. Now there are new opportunities to help fund Ross's very important, very expensive appeal. We hope you'll consider these options and share them on social media and with your friends. And if you're listening, then I kind of consider you at least an acquaintance. I might not know you. I might not buy you a beer. If we meet, I would probably have a beer with you as long as it's a good beer and you don't, try to roofie the beer or anything. But I don't know why you would do that. Hopefully you wouldn't. I don't know. People do some weird stuff, right? So anyway, I'm sharing these with you. The tax-deductible donations, or rather tax-deductible donations, can now help the Ross Ulbricht Fund. You can donate through the American Black Cross, which is a 501c3 tax-deductible civil liberties defense organization dedicated to the defense of American prisoners, including Ross Ulbricht. I'm looking at their website. It is blackcross.org. They were founded last year, and it's a network of volunteers and activists dedicated to defending the prisoners of American imperium, their humanitarian relief, and the abolition of the country's industrial prison systems. The current projects include committing funds and resources for the legal efforts of Ross Ulbricht, whose bitterly unjust criminal conviction is now on appeal. You can either donate directly to the Black Cross. Again, the website is blackcross.org. Or there's someone that's actually doing a fundraiser for Ross Ulbricht, and the donation of choice is the American Black Cross. Her name is Amy McLean, and she's hiking the Appalachian Trail. So what? People hike that trail all the time. Yes, they do. But not everybody that hikes the trail all the time is somebody that is not a trail hiker, which makes this, really unique and different. Plus, she's raising money for a good cause. The email from the Ross Ulbricht Defense Fund reads, sponsor a hiker with a tax-deductible donation. Amy McLean is hiking the 2,189 miles of the Appalachian Trail to raise funds for prisoner defense, including Ross's appeal. She says, when things go tough out there, I think of Ross sitting in prison for life and think I have the option to do this or not. If Ross can go through what he's going through involuntarily, I can certainly go through it voluntarily. Stay tuned, there's more, and I'll jump into version 4.0 next. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. You can support FPP Radio by shopping online. Whether you're looking for precious metals, bitcoins, or books, you'll find that and more at shop.fppradio.com. Every purchase you make from one of my affiliates, like Namecheap, Spendabit, and Amazon at shop.fppradio.com helps fund FPP Radio. Or you can shop directly from FPP with Bitcoin in the Bitcoin store. That's shop.fppradio.com. The Doublespeak Dictionary by Leslie Starr O'Hara satirizes the marked difference between the ideal of we the people and the reality of we the elite, while offering an insightful glimpse into the clockworks of the totalitarian mind. Ever irreverent but never irrelevant, the Doublespeak Dictionary serves as a subversive and humorous but timely reminder that the emperor has no clothes. The Doublespeak Dictionary is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Darryl W. Perry, online at fppradio.com.
Hey, welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. Oh, you know what? One more thing, actually two more things on the Ross Ulbricht front. There's still the art.freeross.org that you can go donate. Ross Ulbricht did this amazing drawing, and I know it's amazing because you can see the vast majority of the drawing there at art.freeross.org, but you really need to still donate because after the money is all raised, there are 9,350 squares on this drawing. Slightly larger than a pixel, so it's not, like a pixel, might be, but, basically it's a tiny little square. And there are still 2,490 of these squares that need to be purchased, meaning they need to raise another $2,490 to reveal the entire picture. Again, 9,350 squares total. Why is this important? Why do we need to, unveil every square? Well, because you could possibly win some gold when you go to art.freeross.org and buy a square. Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, a sponsor of this show, has put up 21 grams of gold. There are 21 of these squares that are the lucky squares. You reveal one of these squares, you will win a gram of gold. However, you will not be notified that you have won the gram of gold until after all 9,350 squares are revealed, because they don't want to tell people, oh, sorry, we won, we found all the winners. It's like when you go buy lotto tickets, and the major difference here is that this is completely voluntary and it goes to a good cause. It's not like, the state-run lotto to where, what is it, 25 cents winds up going to whatever project they say? No. But they still don't tell you, oh, yeah, all of the winners on the Lucky Sevens have been found, but we've still got some tickets over here. No. Because the only reason people buy lotto tickets is for the chance of winning. The reason you should donate to art.freeross.org is because you want to, one, be able to purchase a print of this picture once it's revealed, because they're not selling the prints until it's revealed. And two, because you want to help Ross's family fund Ross's appeal, because there's no reason at all that this man should be sitting in prison for 2 life sentences plus 40 years. He should not be sitting in prison for 2 minutes plus 40 seconds. He should immediately be released and given an apology personally by the President of the United States. But unfortunately, Barack Obama will never do that. There's really only one presidential candidate that's even saying that they're doing that, and, well, you're listening to him speak right now. So, art.freeross.org, and there's also, at freeross.org, there's the store where 100% of proceeds of the sales go to Ross's legal defense. It's something that I cannot, verbalize enough, that this is something that you need to support, because this man should not be in prison at all. He is a political prisoner. And unfortunately, there are a lot of political prisoners. And I'm not going to get into it on this show, because I've shifted away from, talking about more political stuff. But there is some senator somewhere that said that there's not enough people that are incarcerated. We have an under-incarceration problem. And, yeah, it's just absolutely absurd. But I digress, and I jump into version 4.0 of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Memories are incredibly strange things, right? Sometimes you can remember great details, other times you can't, and sometimes you remember things that may not have actually happened to you. And no, I'm not talking about just, like your best friend tells you a story and you remember it vividly because you've heard the story so many times. No. Apparently, according to some scientists, memories can possibly be inherited. And this is something that is incredibly interesting, and I just find it so really strange that I want to talk about this a little bit before I talk about ways that you can actually remember things that actually existed or actually happened to you, or things that you need to know, like, where did I leave my car keys? Why did I go to the grocery store? Why am I here? And not the metaphorical, like, why are any of us here? But, like, why did I come into this room? Because I know it happens to me, where I'll start doing something and then I get sidetracked and I was like, wait, what was I doing? Yeah, so, let's try to remember things. But let me jump into this story. It says our life experiences may be passed on to our children and our children's children. And now scientists report that they discovered that this inheritance can be turned on or off. Epigenetics is the study of inherited changes in gene expression. Changes that are inherited but aren't inherent to our DNA. For instance, life experience. Those which are not directly coded into human DNA can actually be passed on to children. Studies have shown that survivors of traumatic events may have effects in subsequent generations. The question, of course, is how are these genetic memories passed on? This is the question that a Tel Aviv university was seeking to answer when they reportedly discovered a mechanism that makes it possible to turn the transference of environmental influences on or off. Their research was recently published in the journal Cell and was led by Oded Rakavi, along with a team of faculty members from Tel Aviv University's Faculty of Life Sciences and Segal School of Neuroscience. According to the study, epigenetic responses that are inherited follow an active process as it gets passed on through generations. Rakavi says, we previously showed that worms inherited small RNAs following the starvation and viral infection of their parents. These small RNAs helped prepare their offspring for similar hardships. He goes on to explain the research, noting we also identified a mechanism that amplified heritable small RNAs across generations, so the response was not diluted. We found that enzymes called RDRPs are required for recreating new small RNAs to keep response going in subsequent generations. Yeah, doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but it sounds as though some kind of trauma might be passed on to your kids and their kids' kids through DNA. So basically, be nice to one another, right? But how can you remember things? Well, stay tuned. I'll tell you.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs with a story like no other game before. The liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to zog.ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, zog.ninja, code FPP.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
Hi, I'm Nick Hazelton from the Anarcho-Yakutalism podcast, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Remembering things, that's always important, especially if you're fed up with the government running every aspect of your life, as you should be, because, well, they do. And hopefully you learned some of that from your parents, but if not, well, never fear. You can always learn new things. So go listen to the Lava Flow podcast. Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. What's that? You don't listen to the Lava Flow podcast? Well, you should, because there might be something wrong. Maybe the trauma genes from your parents passed on to you and you just learned to love the state. Well, you can learn to unlove the state. Go right now to thelavaflow.com/listen. The Lava Flow podcast, channeling the flow of the information to the libertarian, anarcho-capitalist, voluntarist, and agorist community. Subscribe today using any podcatcher at thelavaflow.com/listen. That's thelavaflow.com/listen. Or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every episode. And speaking of striking roots, let's strike the roots of the neurons in your brain, the synapses, but not actually striking them because that would just be wrong, but metaphorically striking them with new information. See, that is consensual because you're listening to the show, which means that little synapses and things are firing in your brain. I don't know how the brain works. I just know that it does in the vast majority of people. Sometimes, most of the time, but sometimes it doesn't, and that's when you have those things that are called brain farts, right? You've had those before where you're doing something and you're like, wait, what was I doing? Why did I walk into this room? Where are my car keys? And you say that to yourself while you're driving down the street. I had that happen to me once. It was about 20 years ago, but it happened. I've spent time looking for my sunglasses that I was wearing. And brains are really interesting things. They're also incredible landscapes that medical science is just beginning to understand. They're made up of a vast territory of firing neurons bathed in chemicals that enable us to inhabit our bodies with authority and purpose. As humans, we exercise the most powerful machine of recall on the planet with a memory capacity that far exceeds any modern-day hard drive. When faced with the challenge of assimilating new information, the human brain goes through a specific method of cognitive processing. All input is stored initially in short-term memory, but this piece of our processing is like a small bucket, constantly overflowing and losing facts under a deluge of information and sensation. Studies indicate short-term memory can hold up to 7 items for only 20 seconds at a time. 7 things. 20 seconds. Extensive research into learning strategies in the past few decades have enabled scientists to identify a few methods that ensure your brain will hold on to and remember the factual items you process. Most of the following are simple methods that you can use independently or combine to improve your ability to learn and retain important information. And there are several steps here. There are 5 of them. And remember, you can only remember 7 things for 20 seconds. I'm only going to tell you 5. So hopefully you can retain these things for longer than 20 seconds. If I know anything about math, and, well, I was in the Math Honor Society in high school 20-plus years ago, 5 is less than 7. And so, therefore, if you divide 20 by 5, that would be roughly 4 seconds. Wait, no, hold on. 20 divided by 7. And, yeah, see, math doesn't translate well. But that's roughly 3 seconds per item, right? So you can hold 7 items for 20 seconds. That's 3 seconds per item, roughly. So we're doing 5, so then you multiply, and, yeah, hopefully you should hold on to these for more than 20 seconds. Or maybe not. I don't know, because brains are incredibly strange things, but I can help you. I can help you. Or rather, I can relay to you the information that's on the screen in front of me, because I didn't write any of this down. But that's strategy number 1. They say write things down. And actually write them by hand, because remember we talked about something a couple weeks ago where scientists figured out that when people write things down by hand, they actually retain the information longer than if they just type it into a keyboard. This method of writing things down, confirmed by a Princeton study in 2014, is based on the research that indicates our brains are much more likely to remember information that we physically write down as opposed to simply auditory processing or even typing electronic notes. They have a little bit more written on this, but I will skip to strategy number 2. Use mnemonics. That's M-E, or rather M-N-E-M-O-N-I-C-S. Mnemonics. Remember the thing, what is it? My very eager mother just served us 9 pies. But now Pluto's not a planet, so she didn't serve us anything. Or maybe she served us, but we don't know what she served us. And what is that supposed to be? Right. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Pluto. But Pluto's not there anymore. And, yeah, so there's that. So what are mnemonics or mnemonics? This is a strategy that has risen in popularity in recent years, and studies have supported its ability to increase memory performance. Mnemonics involve consolidating a larger piece of information or a complex idea into a simpler phrase or sentence. where key points of the concept are usually represented by a corresponding letter that begins the first word of the idea being recalled. My very eager mother just served us 9 Plutos. That's how I always said it, because I just like saying Pluto. There's a few more things on here to help you remember things, and I will speed through these in the closing moments of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerary supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake Security Company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? Will anybody care? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com.
Hey, it's Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, and we are in the closing moments. And, you know, speaking of memories, I often forget to, or I often fail to remember to mention that if you like the show, you can join the Fans program and get ad-free versions of the program. Now, obviously, you'll still hear me saying this little tidbit right here because I'm not cutting this out of the show, because it's part of the show. Everything between the music beds, it's all part of what you get in the ad-free versions. But you can skip out those minute-long commercial breaks, and then the 30-minute show becomes like a 27-minute show, 26 and a half, something like that. So go to fans.fppradio.com. And it's not just ad-free versions of this show that you get. You get a newspaper in your mailbox every month. That's right. An actual physical paper that you can hold in your hands. And, I would say get ink on your fingers, but I started using a new printer back in January. And, well, their ink doesn't smudge. So you don't have to worry about the ink on your finger. But you can get that in your mailbox. And there's other stuff that you get as well, being a member of the Fans program. Go right now to fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. What is strategy number 3 for helping you have a better memory? Create visual organizers. Teachers have long noted the appeal of this method, specifically for young learners. The use of visual imagery in note-taking has the ability to cement ideas in the brain that enable the memory to work more easily off association, like a kind of shorthand. There's a little bit more on here, but I will jump to strategy number 4. Repeat, repeat, repeat. No, I'm not telling you, just like go back and listen to this again. Obviously, you could, but repetition helps you remember readily. 3 R's. Repetition. Remember readily. Well, there's actually a help in there, so yeah, that doesn't work. But repeat. It helps you. Spaced repetition specifically, and again, I'll post the link in the show notes. You can read about that. And the most important thing to have a good memory is to remember to have a regular sleep pattern. And I believe we've talked about this previously. I don't know, because I have a horrible short-term memory, and part of that's due to multiple concussions, and part of that is because I've always kind of had a bad short-term memory, but like my short-term memory has been getting worse lately, and I think part of it is because of the unusual sleep patterns that I've been having with a lot of travel. Again, as always, this will be in the show notes. FPPradio.com. And don't forget, every Wednesday I answer your questions. Send those to me, AMA@FPPradio.com.
The podcasts of FPP Radio are licensed under Copyheart. We believe that copying is a form of flattery and do not abide by the copyright laws. Those laws serve to restrict the flow of ideas, which no one can really own. Copying is an act of love. Love is not subject to law. If you enjoy the show, consider joining the Fans program and get perks like ad-free versions of Peace, Love, Liberty Radio and FPP Radio News. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.